The
subway car was doing that lurching thing that makes everyone sway like seaweed when the old drunk lady locked onto her target. I noticed because she pointed first. Pointing is never a good sign. He was a perfectly normal guy, minding his business in the heroic way only commuters can. She staggered over, perfume battling alcohol in a chemical war, and plopped down next to him with a sigh that suggested both romance and arthritis. "You got kind eyes," she slurred, poking his cheek with a finger that looked like it had seen things. He froze. I froze. Even the subway car seemed uncomfortable. She leaned closer, close enough that I could see glitter on her eyelids from an earlier, more hopeful decade. "I was a dancer," she said, though nothing about her posture supported this claim. She laughed, then coughed, then laughed again, finishing by patting his knee like she was checking a roast. He tried to stand. She grabbed his sleeve. "Don't be shy," she whispered loudly. "I bite, but only on holidays." Across the car, people pretended very hard to read ads for defunct phone plans. At the next stop, he escaped, leaving behind only a stunned silence, and the woman blowing him a kiss with a mouth that should legally require a warning label.
Hello, and welcome to the Best of and the Worst of Experience. My name is Ryan, and thanks for checking us out. We appreciate you checking out our videos. We're still new in this game, and we'd like for you to pardon our mess as we figure things out. So the mere fact that you're watching this, it means a lot. What we do here is we take some stories, we take some personal experiences, we run it through the meat grinder, add a twist of this, a twist of that, and hopefully you got something out of it. So we have a bunch more videos to come. I saved my favorite video for the last one, so stick around for that, and I'll see you guys in a few. Bye.
I was going upstairs to my room when something made me turn around and head down to the basement, where my mom was doing laundry. It wasn't a thought, more like missing a step and correcting it. The light over the stairs flickered. The house was quiet, except for the TV upstairs and the dull thump of clothes in the dryer. The basement smelled damp and familiar. I reached the bottom step and rested my hand on the wall, steadying myself. My chest felt tight, like I'd come down too fast. I stayed there longer than I needed to. Then the sound came. A violent crash split the house open, followed by a roar that shook the ceiling. The stairs rattled. I crouched without thinking, hands over my head, counting breaths until the noise stopped. When I went back up, the living room was destroyed. Front wall gone, furniture shoved aside. A truck sat where our coffee table had been. Mum was crying, but unhurt. I couldn't explain why I'd gone downstairs. I still can't. I just know the house felt aware, and sometimes it still does. This place is easily the worst place I have ever been to. The park's team members were so rude and unfriendly, you'd think guests were interrupting their day off. Both kids and adults got the same cold treatment. The sidewalks are downright dangerous and not marked at all. I proved that the hard way. I tripped, fell flat on my face, and called for a medic. I was bleeding. My leg was swelling up like a balloon animal at a kid's birthday party. And the medic basically stuck a bandage on me, said, "Sorry that happened," and walked away. That was the entire medical experience. Overall, the park was a huge disappointment. And the water park? It's so dirty, I'm convinced it has its own bacteria union demanding better working conditions. Not exactly the magical day I was hoping for. We were stretched out on the trampoline in my aunt's backyard. We were staring up at the stars and letting the night pass without conversation. It was one of those quiet moments that feels heavy in a good way. Crickets hummed, a plane crossed the sky and vanished. Then the quiet felt wrong. Not silent, paused, like someone had pressed a finger against the night and held it there. My thoughts thinned out, slipping away before I could finish them. The stars went super bright, kinda like the Millennium Falcon when it jumps to hyperdrive. The next thing I knew, my cousin jolted upright and said, "Did I fall asleep, or did time go wonky?" I checked my phone. 2 hours had passed. None of us remembered talking, dreaming, or moving. We were still lying in the same positions, but the stars had shifted noticeably, like the sky had continued without us. The air smelled sharp, almost electric. My arms prickled, and for a second I felt watched, not by something nearby, but by something far above. We joked about it then. Aliens, missing time, cosmic hiccups. But the laughter felt forced. To this day, we have no idea what happened. I think about it sometimes when the sky is especially clear, and I wonder if something noticed us noticing it and decided we didn't need to remember the rest. That was the last time I was on that trampoline.
Oh man, that's scary. Being outside at night and you feel like something is watching you, not someone, but something is watching you. I used to walk home from work on these dark streets in Tahoe, and I felt like something was watching me. And I pass under a light and I look back and I see like a coyote like tracking me. And that is scary. But in these kids' situations, that could be something extraterrestrial, and that's even more scary. Anyway, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Bye.
We were crammed into a car with a rollback canvas roof, racing for the train station with a few mates. Already late. No time for pit stops. One bloke announces he needs a piss. Tough luck, we say. So instead, he climbs onto the back seat, stands up through the open roof, and starts pissing out the back of a moving car. Halfway through, he goes, "I'm pissing on my face." We lose it. Obviously, the wind's flicked a few droplets back at him. That's the joke, right? Wrong. When he turns around and sits back down, he's absolutely soaked, drenched. Not a single drop had hit the road. The entire bladder had come straight back at him like some kind of high-speed urine boomerang. Pure gold. I still laugh about that when I see a text from him. Different times, different mistakes. He will always be pisshead to me and our friends. The scariest nightmare I've ever had started completely normal. I was just sitting in class with my friends, but everything began looping. The same sentence, the same laugh, the same pencil tapping, over and over. That's when I realized I was dreaming. The second that awareness hit, the whole scene snapped away. Suddenly, I was standing alone in a long, dimly lit school hallway. The air felt heavy, like it was pressing against my skin. And at the far end, something was moving toward me. Slow, wonky, wrong. It looked almost exactly like the girl from The Grudge. Hair hanging like wet rope, head twitching with every step. I panicked and bolted in the opposite direction, telling myself, "This is my dream. I have control. The next door I open will be a safe garden meadow." I repeated it like a spell as my footsteps echoed off the lockers. I finally reached a door, yanked it open, and somehow it worked. Kind of. Instead of a wide meadow, I stepped into this tiny, bizarre indoor garden, full of plants crammed too close together under buzzing fluorescent lights. It wasn't peaceful exactly, but the girl was gone. I remember standing there, heart hammering, trying to convince myself it was over. I woke up right after that, still shaken, like the dream had followed me into the real world.
Speaking of old P-head, when I was living on the East Coast and I had a bunch of roommates, I had one roommate who made enemies with the wrong roommate. And that roommate locked the other guy in his room, but not before he took a bag and a spoon with his own crap and spooned it in his hair. Then he left the room, locked the door or so he couldn't get out, and then he went around outside of the house and stood outside the windows and threatened to beat him up. So he wouldn't crawl out. He had a head full of crap and he's just sitting in it for an hour until eventually he drifted away and he was able to make his way outside, climbing out the windows. Needless to say, I'm sure you can guess what his nickname was, well, at least for that summer. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Bye.